Never in doubt that. Never in doubt. Wednesday travelled to Doncaster this afternoon to take on Rovers, who were fighting for their lives at foot of the table. Wednesday had a few days to give people rest after the game against Accrington Stanley got called off, but still made a couple of changes at top end at pitch. So this is how Wednesday lined up this afternoon. So Wednesday lined up with Peacock, Farrell in net. There was a change to the back four. Sam Hutchinson was taken out and rested. So Jordan Story moved into the centre of the back three. Liam Palmer moved out to the left and young Brennan came in on the right hand side. It was the same midfield as usual, with Luongo sat slightly deeper than Byers and Bannon. Left wing back Marvin Johnson, right wing back Jack Hunt. Obviously Mendes Lang is out with a hamstring injury. And there were two changes up top. Florian Kamberi and Silasol came in at centre forward. Rovers made one change from the team that beat Lincoln City 1-0, with Odebeko coming in up front for Martin. Wednesday have needed to take chances up front. They've been creating half chances last few weeks, and Patterson's been up there, Mendes Lang has been up there, and it's all been a bit hit and miss. So today he started with Sol and Kamberi. I don't think anyone before kick-off would have really moaned. It's like, yeah, they both strikers, get them in there, give them a chance. A bit of a sort of portent of what was to come later was that Kamberi got caught offside after 47 seconds. Little 1-2 with Johnson and Bannon, ball down the left, flags 2 yards off. You're sort of thinking, well, it's first few seconds of game, you know what I mean, things will settle down, but fair to say it weren't his afternoon full stop today. Now Donny, for their part, had sat back and decided to try and keep things tight. It was a 3-5-2, but they were just behind the ball. They were letting Wednesday have the possession. Not a usual home tactic, but given where they are in the table, perhaps understandable. So Wednesday were having lots of ball. Donny were just looking to loft some over the top, but Story and Brennan especially, really, really good up there in the air, and the young lad, what did I say his name was, Odebogo. The young lad up front weren't really getting any change out of him. Wednesday were in complete control of the game. They got all the ball, they were knocking it about quite well. So actually did come out and link a couple of times nicely with Hunt and Brennan on that side, but problem is it was coming out and linking. It was nice interlink play, but then when the cross goes in the box, there's only one man in the box, which usually Kamberi on his own. We weren't really getting them support runners, and I thought Byers was quite deep, especially in that first half, but it was a complete Wednesday domination the first 15-20 minutes, and like I said, Rovers just the odd lofted pass opening, hoping that the young lad up top could get after it with his pace. Hunt put a really good ball in, and their keeper made a fantastic catch because Sol was just lurking in behind him, and it's that. When he gets up, it's a really good claim. If you don't make that, it's probably a goal. I think what summed up the way this game was going was, and I am a bit sad, but here we go. About 20 minutes, Wednesday got the ball. It started with Doncaster had a free kick and just lofted it into our half. We got possession back from it. And Wednesday had a 21 pass move, which ended up going out for a goal kick without anybody actually having an attempt on goal. Now, you see these little viral clips online, don't you? They get sent to you on your phone. Oh, look at this, amazing. But Liverpool, 21 passes. Man City, 21 passes. Everyone's like, ooh, great, wanking them send silly. But it's not we had a shot at the end of it, is it? So Wednesday really dominating play. That's what it highlights, is how much of the ball that Wednesday actually had. Bit of a blow for Rovers. It was about 22-25 minutes, something like that, when Tommy Rowe, who, if you watch the preview video, I'd highlighted as probably their most useful player, definitely their top scorer anyway with 6 goals. He went down, had to be subbed straight away. There weren't any messing about and I'll try and carry on for 5 minutes. They knew straight away he was done. And so they brought on this lad Martin. No, apparently he's mainly a winger, but they played him in a sort of attacking midfield role. They shuffle things around a bit. Whereas they started the game with sort of an anchor man and 2 slightly in front of him, Rovers then had 2 sat and he was sort of floating about and giving a free roll, and he looked quite lively actually. And sometimes things are forced on you as a manager, but they actually work in your favour. It might be something that you'd never thought to do, you know what I mean? But an injury, you've got to chuck him on and see what we can do till we get in a break. I thought they actually looked a bit better for it. A bit like Darren Moore, we've stumbled across this midfield three because Delibashiru's been injured, Adeniran's been injured, Wing got recalled by Wilder and flogged. If those injuries and that sale hadn't happened, would we be playing this midfield three of Luongo, Bannon and Byers? Sometimes you stumble into something that works. So I thought that happened a little bit for Rovers today with, ironically, one of their better players having to get subbed off. This Martin character, he actually nearly catches Peacock Farrell off his line. It might even be his first couple of touches. It's a long range effort and he does have to backpedal. I don't think he was expecting it. Excuse me. And probably rightly so, because at that time Rovers hadn't really mustered any opportunities in game. Just before half an hour stroke, Wednesday should take the lead. They've had a lot of the ball, they've put a lot of crosses in. Some good crosses and some bad crosses. I mean, it's one of them funny ones, and if you're a wide player and you put the cross in, there is always that argument. I've put ball in, nobody's going to end of it, gaffer. There is that argument. But sometimes they were a bit too high, sometimes they're slightly behind man, so we put a lot of delivery in, some good, some bad. But there was one delivery from Bannon, and Saul has absolutely got to bet it. He's actually done well, he's lost his man. It comes up over the head of the lad in front of him. Just got to go back across to far post. But he don't generate the power. He could have probably stepped back and took it on chest, but it's here. He's got to attack it. There's enough on the ball that even the slightest nut and it's in, but he sort of cushions it. There's no excusing it really. I don't know if you were nervous about heading it off at bar or what, but you've got to take that chance. That's what you're there for. And he just sort of cushioned it back to Mitchell in net, and he probably knew at that stage he were going to get the hook at the break. Although, out of the two forwards, I thought he had been the livelier of the two. He had at least popped out wide and linked with Johnson, some nice little 1-2s, and he'd done similar with Hunt on the other side, some nice little 1-2s, but without actually being much of a threat. It's up to 30 minutes, Wednesday completely dominating the play, just not really got that final ball, that killer ball. There's quite a few times we're trying to thread that final pass in, like it overruns for the goal kick, or it just comes under somebody's shoulder and they can't quite keep it in. There's lots of that. But Wednesday completely in ascendancy, and you just think, well, it's probably a matter of time, and of course that's when Donny then have their, I'm going to say best, but probably only spell of the first half. They have a little 5-minute spell from about 35 minutes. That Martin is starting to get a few things going for them. They get a throw in on right wing. It's a nice little cute ball around corner actually by their lad. I think Noel they call him, and he gets it. I think Luongo gets a tiny bit on ball. It's a penalty, but I think he gets a tiny bit on the ball. But because him and Byers have both gone in, the kid just gets body slammed. I mean, I don't think Luongo gets a nick on it, but that's a penalty all day, every day. Do you know what I mean? It's as soon as I'm like, yeah, it don't matter. Even if you do get a nick on ball, when two players come in and smash you like that, you give referee a decision to make, and 9 times out of 10, that's the one he's going to make. And their lad Gardner stepped up, and that is a right pen. You don't save them. He absolutely leathers that. I mean, for the team down at bottom of the table, with all that pressure on him, it's a big local game for him. Step up and take a penalty like that, he didn't have any nerves. That would have a right spank. Anyway, so first half, Wednesday completely dominating the ball. I think we had about 68-70% possession at one stage of the game, and we're going 1-0 down. A couple of changes at break. Darren Moore had to do something. We were completely in control, but we were missing that little bit of spark up front, that little bit of aggressiveness, that spike. And to be fair to Canberra and Sol, and I'm going to be fair to them because they've took an absolute slating. Neither of them had a good game. Sol slightly the better of the two with some of the little links out wide. But it's not always easy to come in and then out, and then in and then out. I've talked about this with several players. I talked about it with Byers a few weeks ago. If you're in and then you're out, you don't know what you're doing. You need a run of game sometimes. So they've come in today. Have them two played together before? I know Sol's played with Patterson and Canberra's played with Gregory, and got to get used to it. And that's one of the things that I thought was the weakness. I thought they were like that. I'm old-fashioned. I'll get somebody down the middle, width at 18-yard box, and say, right, don't you play any wider than widths at post. Especially in a game like this where you're dominating possession. Okay, if you're under cush, yeah, you're both going to have to work channels a bit. But when in a game where you dominate possession, I would just have said to big one, Canberra, I would have said, right, play it width at posts. Don't you move from there. You just stay in that middle and occupy them. And I'll just say, you strike partner, you just play around him in an orbit. Do you know what I mean? But they were like that. That's one thing. So there's no partnership there. Not defending them, but I'm saying sometimes there are reasons that people don't have a great game rather than just, fucking wank. You know what I mean? So, anyway, second half, Patterson's coming on and Berahino's coming on. And the first thing I'm looking at, I'm like, Berahino got a bit bigger. It looks a bit... Well, after about 2 minutes, he showed he had, because he actually strong-armed somebody off and then hold him on. Big lad there got it back. Spun him and made a nice little layoff, and I thought, oh, yeah.
Well, I've been working out.
Sign of things to come, maybe. Now, Rovers come out second half, and I'm going to be honest with you, I thought they started brighter. In fact, I'm going to go against a lot of popular opinion here because obviously I've been keeping an eye out, listening to radio and everything, and everyone's like, oh, Wednesday, brilliant second half. I thought Donny played well after the break, and I thought them playing well actually did Wednesday a favour. I'm not putting Wednesday down because we played well, we deserved the win, which we later got, but I do think a lot of it was down to the fact that second half, Donny come out to play, and that created its own opportunities for us by leaving openings for them. And I feel a bit for Donny because they're in that situation at minute where you're at bottom of the table, you're desperate for points, so what do? Do you try and defend? Do you try and say, right, let's not drop any points? You start every game with a point on board, more or less. No. Do you say, and right, let's keep it tight, and if we can nick one, brilliant. Or do you say, shit or bust? We're at bottom of the table, we need wins, can go for it. Now and again, you're going to get a pasting. So they're stuck in that thing. But they got a 1-0 lead. They got a 1-0 lead from defending deep, like nine men behind the ball in that first half, and just lofting us on counter. So I was a bit surprised second half that they came out and give it more of a go, and the passing were a lot better. They were trying to get it forward. That lad Martin, he were floating about looking dangerous. So as good as Wednesday were, I do feel a lot of our good Wednesday were is because Donny had more of a go of it and left more gaps at back. I mean, it's actually Wednesday's first attack ends up actually being a counter because they've been on the break. Hunt puts a lovely ball in. We win a corner. He comes across and takes that, puts it in, and Brennan, he'll be dreaming about that all night, thinking, oh, that could have been it. Gets up really well, but just can't get it on target. But as I said, Donny have a little spell here. For me, anyway, I seem... most Wednesday fans I'm talking to think we battered them second half, but I thought Donny had a little spell, and in fact Byers goes in booked for a late tackle. It might have been a culminative because he obviously was involved in that penalty, but I think he was going to get booked for this one anyway, late tackle. And they're just having that little spell, Donny. I mean, we're still having plenty of ball, don't get me wrong, but I just think they're looking a lot lively, a lot more dangerous, and I thought it was Wednesday was struggling really to get into a full flowing rhythm. Up at that stage, and in fact they should have made it 2-0. They had this spell of pressure, it's a lofted ball over to back stick. The big, I think he's a centre half, had got up there, Williams, and it's a lovely little sort of side foot cushion volley back across. And Alowu, who's the other centre half from the other side, he's had a stinker. Any connection, it's 2-0. And at 2-0, they can put 10 men behind ball. Wednesday already struggled to break him down in first half with like 9 men behind ball. 2-0, 11 behind ball. Could have been a different game for Donny there. It could have been that upset that they were looking for, a bit like when they did Sunderland the other week. So, and games hinge on these little moments, don't they? Another lad, I think it's that Martin again. He has a long range effort. Peacock Farrell, I think it catches him off guard a little bit. I think it's taken a deflection, but that's a full length save. He's literally, if he'd cut his nails in the morning, that would have been back at net. So they've had that little spell, Donny, and like I said, I almost feel sorry for him. I mean, I don't, because we've got 3 points and we're trying to get promoted. But you know what I mean. I thought they had a go at it after break. But Wednesday were lively as well. Obviously, Patterson comes on, and what was noticeable for me is that straight from the beginning of the second half, him and Berahino just went charging in. They just went absolutely heading in, closing down, and they were like that. A little pair closing down, and I thought that's what you've got to do. Can't have one here and one here, you know. So, Donny were livelier. And I do think it played into Wednesday's hands, and of course credit to Darren Moore for the substitution, because we suddenly got 2 lads up front who were putting it about, and like I said, Berahino suddenly looked a little bit like being eating Jim, do you know what I mean? They're having a technique right hand side, because they are pushing on them, they're having another go at it, and Story makes 2 brilliant headers. He gets up for the first header, which is not really favourite to win. They got a big lad up top. Story got up there. Then he went second header. He gets out to it and wins second header, and I'm like, 2 on spin. I'm like, that's what you need. He's had a great game today. I'll probably come on to him later, but I thought he was fantastic. Although he's got a bandage on his hand. I know we get a lot of injuries, but I'm like, you start looking for them, don't you? Because with nerves, I'm like, has Marvin Johnson got a bandage on his knee? I'm not sure he had. I think he just got one sock up higher than other, but you start panicking, don't you? And Story had got something on his hand. But yeah, great double header from him. In fact, I thought all the lads at back did well today. Palmer, Brennan, Story, and Gibson when he come on. Gibson, I didn't even know what he looked like. I'm very surprised to see him. Donny's going forward. They're leaving more and more gaps, but of course, when you've got quality players in there, Byers, Bannon, they suddenly start seeing more at ball. Because Donny are like, they've gone from this sort of 3 in midfield to suddenly they've got a 2, and they've got a lad advanced to that, this Martin character, who, like I said, apparently a winger, but if I'm their manager, I'm looking at what he's done today in that sort of floating role and thinking, yeah, I'm not stick him in there, don't bleeding time. But because of that, the negative side to that is Bannon and Byers really start getting more at ball now. It's getting wide, and they're managing to get Hunt and Johnson in far more than they were in the first half, especially Johnson. He's seen a lot more of the ball. Bannon has a fizzer that goes just past the post, and I think it'd beat keeper because it bounced just in front of him. I think even if he got there, it'd have probably gone over his arm. So suddenly Wednesday start turning screw a little bit then. And then the leveller, and it's the big man, El Pato, who's been charging about like a lunatic, barging people over, winning fouls. I mean, at one bit, he went into advertising boards. I thought he was going to come out at the other side of them. I love him. I love the big lad. I don't know what he is. I don't know what position he is still. I actually think probably centre at Park. Actually. Looking at all his games since he's been here, and what he does, the sort of things he does, the way he plays, for me, probably a centre midfielder, but that's a different debate for another day. Cross comes in, Wint's first header, probably not right to, decent save from their keeper, and then he's up again. And it reminded me, years back, lads will tell you, I used to do a drill. If the lads line on the floor, lob a ball in, jump up, head it, then they've got to get back down into press up position, and then you lob another ball in quick. And it's that thing of getting up and it's reactions, and that's what he does. He wins first header, he gets knocked over, he's straight back up, boot in face, boom, back in there, get in there. And sometimes that's what it needs. In games down here, in this division, in this league, against a team at bottom of the league, you've just got to have somebody brave who'll just say, no, I'm fucking having that. In we go. I love him. He's a lunatic, I think, but I do. I think he's marvellous. Again, they take centre. Patterson, Berahino, straight in again, closing down, making it hard for them. And that's forcing their defenders to go a bit quicker, to go a bit longer. Of course, when you're forcing defenders to go quicker with their passing, that's when mistakes can come in. And Johnson, he really does start seeing a lot more at ball at this stage. Patterson's winning free kicks for fun. He's all over it show. He's holding it up. He's flicking it past a man and getting to a car. Like I said, he's through billboards, and he's in beast mode. And it's winning us lots of free kicks, and it's taking any little sting that Donny do have in their play out of the game. And then we get the penalty. Not a penalty for me. Like I said, I'm all for, but it's a penalty in the fact that he's awarded it. But for me, it's not a penalty because there's no way in the world that kid can get out of the way. I can't remember if he's there. I think he's their left side centre half. The ball's literally blasted into his hand from here to here. There's no way. There's nothing he can do. He's just. For me, it's harsh. I'm ref. I wouldn't get that. I think they're soft as sharp penalties. I really do. But that's a game. I suppose you can say it's on target, maybe, but harsh for me. Anyway, Bannon steps up. It's not a bad penalty. Their kid's almost dived out of the way of it, and he sort of catches it with his legs. I'm not a big fan of left-footed penalty takers anyway. I've got my little theory about whether they're right or left-handed and the way they stand. That's another debate for another day. But and in a way, it's almost a little bit of justice because I thought that's incredibly harsh, that penalty. I want us to win. I want us to get a goal, obviously, but I just thought, you know. But it's a proper end-to-end game at this stage, and like I said, I think Donny's got to have some credit for that because for all the possession first half Wednesday, it was just and it's hard to break down that wall, and they were just like a wall. But they've come out to play a bit, and when you're dominating the ball like Wednesday were in first half, and you've got all the possession, it's hard to get any real tempo going because you've just got the ball. You're just looking for gaps, so you're just moving it around from one side, back across, back to the keeper, and you're just moving it around. It's a bit laborious, and it's hard to get that snap. And then when you do put a ball in, it'll be either too high or too low, or somebody's not expecting it. Or another problem which arises, you're already in there. It's best to get onto a ball to attack it. If you're already in there, it's hard to generate anything from it, any power, momentum, anything else. So I think we've got to give great credit for Donny for coming out, because I do think that helped Wednesday start zipping their passes about more, because Donny were getting in, they were trying to get a foot in, they were trying to be snappy, and when that happens, you've got to move ball quicker, and that suits Wednesday's players like Bannon, Byers, Luongo. Touch, and you've got to be aware and having a look, and that, I think Donny coming out and having a go and trying to rattle some tackles in, I thought that lifted Wednesday's tempo, daft as it sounds, like yin and yang on one of them little wheels, isn't it? Marvin Johnson really growing into the game. I mean, he's one bit. Peacock Farrell bolts ball out to him. He just goes, must make 70 yards up pitch. Absolutely swallowed ground up. And that was a sign of things to come from him, because we started building more and more down that left. And, Gibson's come on for Brennan. It can only have been, I think, to give us a natural left footer and to give him some minutes. And Dan and Moore must have been confident that we were going to get a result, because that's not a change he'd made. I like for light centre half just to give him some time under his belt. So he must have been confident. But ironically, it's him with little give and go that sets up second goal. I mean, okay, it's a little bit of a blunder. I think he sort of accidentally beats their man, because touch ain't great, but he gets past him and just puts one in. It's not best ball in the world, but I tell you what, Berahino, that's a great finish. And it's an instinctive finish and all. Clearly he's got a good left foot, as we see with a strike, but as it comes into him there, and the lad's not actually marking him tight, but the lad's just sort of here in front of him. As that comes in, he can easily sweep his left foot all the way around that. He can easily angle his body, get a left foot round it, but he's aware where this kid is. And it's a natural instinct, so he just touches it out with outside at right boot. might only make him 2 foot, but as I say, 2 foot on this side is a yard on that side. Do you know what I mean? Nudges it out, left foot round it, bang. It's a great goal. It's instinctive finish, and that'll do him world of good. That. Absolute world of good. He looked. I tell you what, he looked. He looked the player today that I thought we were signing when I did that bloody excitable video in summer. That's he looked really sharp today, and not more so than the winning goal. Little ball in from Luongo, and it's almost casual. A lovely little sort of Cruyff flick pass round corner. Johnson gets on. Intelligence, game intelligence, that you can't have enough of it. I always just said this with the. Remember that Theo Walcott? I don't know where he is now. Were he at Everton? I don't know. I always just said he's too quick for his own brain. Him. Balls all over his shop. And that's what Johnson does. Gets down. His head's like that. He's looking. Sees Bannon. Slows his run. It's absolutely great play. He could just air down, couldn't he, and put a cross in box and there's nobody there and everybody's like, okay, no, nobody in box. He slows his run. Waits. As soon as he sees Bannon, making his run and then slightly curve it off to get in front of the man. Lovely little ball, and it's a lovely finish from Baz, that. Ooh, hang about. Baddy's over there. Take the revs off, son. Take the revs off. There he comes. There you go, son. Get out into that. I mean, just guides into far post. Runs over, jumps down. I mean, Christ. I'm not a big fan of that celebration, by the way. I mean, knowing how, look, he could have landed dead and broke his bleeding hip, couldn't he? But, great finish, but wonderful ball from Johnson, and a nice flick to start move with Berahino. He was impressive this afternoon. That defender's face when Berahino did that flick, that was a proper, hello sailor. God, didn't know where it were, did he? Yeah, so good performance from Wednesday, but we've got to bear in mind Doncaster Rovers second bottom at table, not won at home in 6 games, was it 7 games, so having a rough time of it, and credit to them, they were rigid first half, they were dogged, they stuck to it, and then they got that goal. In a way, I do wonder if that's the worst thing that happened for them, because it seemed to give them that confidence, come on, let's go out and get a second, whereas if it'd been 0-0, they might have stuck at it, but that's football. Hinges on little moments, doesn't it? They've got that penalty. Has that given them that bit of false confidence to come out and then get picked off by Wednesday? Possibly. Equally, other little moments, that fingertip save from Peacock Farrell, that's another turning point. And of course the miss, Alohu, I think his name were, if he buries that 2-0, they can just get everybody behind ball then, can't they? Job done, break us down. And Wednesday didn't look like they were going to break anybody down. But little key moments in games, don't matter if you play bottom at table or top at table. Little key moments hinge games, don't they? Don't matter how much ball you have, possession stats don't really count for fuck all, do they? So what you do in them little turning points in games, and Wednesday didn't, and Donny didn't, I'm afraid. That match, I thought buyers were good, especially second half, because like I said, Donny trying to get forward a bit more, create that bit more space, and when you give him a little bit more space, his passing can be really crisp. I thought he was really good. You can say that Berahino's just put in his best game for the club, and I'm sure he'll probably do well on man at match votes. And he was impressive. Like I said, looks a bit bigger, a bit stronger, looks more like the player we thought we were going to sign. I thought Peacock Farrell not had a lot to do, but that save, that's a vital one. That Patterson comes on, just shithousing his way around the pitch. In many ways, I think that's pivotal. I think that might be the genuine changing point of the game, because that first header is a good set, but it's that reaction to get up and stick your face in there in front of a bloody studded boot, and it's the reactions, first ball, second ball, and that's what you need. Sometimes games is about heart and desire and wanting to get there as much as OWLS. So I think Patterson would be up there. Johnson, very good second half. I thought Hunt were very good first half. But do you know what? I really like that Jordan story. I think I'm going to get him. I just don't think the kid's put a foot wrong. And he's played in middle today. He's 24 years old. Before kick-off, we were talking to my father, and I says, Hutchinson's a miss. That experience. But that story, I like him. I don't know what crack is with his contract situation at Preston. I hope it's running out in summer and that Moore's already tapping him up and forget about them, son. You come here on a free, because he looks really good, really assured. 24-year-old, good in air, good on ball. I tell you what, he likes a diagonal, doesn't he? A lot of good performances. Berahino's best game for club. Johnson really good. Byers really good. Patterson probably the changing point of the game in terms of that goal. And actually with him, we won penalty and all, weren't he? But I'm probably going to get Story. I do like a proper centre half, and he's a proper centre half. I like him a lot. He's got to be a priority for us to sign in summer. He really has. I'd like to get him signed on permanent. He looks a real prospect for me. Do you know what? I may do a Donny man match. That Martin kid, I don't know who he is or where he's popped up from, but I'm surprised he was on bench. I thought he was their best player by an absolute country mile. Having a goal from distance, spreading ball about, trying to take men on. If they're going to do anything in terms of staying up, I think they've got to get him involved week in, week out. And like I said, that little role playing just ahead at midfield, I thought that suited him. Now let's have a look at table, actually. I've not looked at table. Wednesday, 8th place. Well, really, joint 6th place, that, innit? Wickham, obviously, with that crazy 5-all draw. Because Sunderland, absolutely bombing like a stone. Another win for Oxford. They're picking it up, aren't they? Forget about Rotherham, they're well gone. But I tell you, this is tight, this. 55 points. Get something from Fleetwood, which we should be able to do. Take us up to what, 58? I tell you, we're up there. Results aren't quite gone for us today, but we're there to thereabouts. So, well placed, just building things up bit by bit by bit. We're getting there. Forget about that Rotherham game. That was a travesty of justice. Dearie me. But just picking up momentum, and it could be, maybe sometimes these things are written in stars, aren't they, that we get to that last couple of months of the season, these injured players come back, just give everybody a boost and get us over the line. So, a good week here. Level on points with a playoff spot. Fleetwood to come. Got no reason to think we can't go and get out there. These teams that we've struggled against, we're starting to show we can perform against dogged teams who think Wednesday's a big game. So, yeah, I think it's all to play for here Wednesday. I think things are starting to look a little bit rosy in garden, you know what I mean? It's a bit of Jaffa cake.